Hello, 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 lovely people, and welcome back to another session on Perfect Date. Last time, you may remember, we went on a couple of dates with McMurphy. We drank some illicit alcohol out of a leaf. We went and found a magical river that gave you wonderful properties, and then at the end, we got on a boat to leave and got shot. Whoops! So, we are back, and what the game is prompting me to do is to pick a new character. So, shall we go ahead? This chap looks like he'll do. Bit of a blue shirt under his white lab coat. I mean, Boo is dead. So, hello, Boo. Oh, can we have Boo too? No, it won't allow it. It enforces a capital letter, but then won't let you put the second letter as a capital. Interesting. Who knew that that was an option? Okay. Well, you also can't have numbers in your name. So there you go. 2 random facts for you. Tell you what, let's use the random name button. We don't look much like a Sandra. Robert, Sally, Fred, Joan, Dawn, Chloe, Luke, Chungus. Let's do it. Come on, Chungus. The obvious name choice right there. Let's see what Chapter 2 has to offer us. Does it give us any resolution to what happened to the poor Boo from Chapter 1? I'm finally here, so this is the infamous Cat Island, the place I will call home for the next 2 months. When I initially received a letter saying I had been placed on a reserves list for the job, I thought that was probably a kind way of saying, no thanks, and put it out of my mind. So imagine my surprise when sometime later I got a call saying there was an opening for me, should I still be interested. I have a sudden pang of nerves that it's all a dream, and rummage through my bag until I find the proof that puts my mind at ease. Aha! A similar letter to the one Boo received. Interesting. No wonder they're getting through so many research assistants so quickly, if they're casually murdering them. Ugh. No mistake. That's my name right there, in the top left corner. And there's his name at the bottom, the genius behind this whole operation. Professor Pauper. The ferryman comes out from behind the steering wheel and shouts rather brusquely. Take all your belongings. We won't be back for days, so don't leave nothing you'll need. We're on to you, Bob. Bob the murderer. Ugh. Thanks, Skipper. He totally ignores me, so I pick up my bags and disembark. A beefy-looking man, who I presume is island security, is waiting for me on the jetty. Hello. ID card? Oh, of course. I reach into my back pocket and show the laminated card I was given on the mainland. It's me! Meow. He barely looks at it before striding off, grunting over his shoulder. This way! I hope we don't have to go through orientation again. I follow him down a dirt path and get my first proper view of the island. It's beautiful! After no more than a couple of minutes trekking, we're at base camp, which is modest but functional. It's a bit like glamping, really. Here! He's stopped at the largest of the tents, indicating that I should go inside. As I enter, the professor looks up from his paperwork. Come in, you must be Chungus. Delighted to have you on board. Thank you, sir, it's an honour to meet you. This is suspiciously like when we were here as Boo, isn't it? You must be exhausted after your long journey. Let me offer you some refreshment. Water, coffee, something stronger, perhaps a little whiskey? Yeah, stuff it. Let's have some whiskey. Well, if you're having one, it would be rude to let you drink whiskey on your own. Jolly good! I can tell you and I are going to get along famously. He takes a swig from the bottle and passes it to me. I try not to show my self-consciousness and surreptitiously wipe the neck of the bottle with my sleeve before taking a modest sip. I don't expect you to begin work until tomorrow, so I'll just give you your kit and some basic instructions and leave you to relax for the rest of the evening. Thank you, sir. That sounds great. Okay, so first things first. This is your basic kit. He goes over the pile of tools and equipment, explaining each of them in turn. It's all standard stuff until... And this is your catalogue. He holds up something that looks a lot like a mobile phone. Catalogue? Yes, it was initially designed to record and store data on the cats, but we've come a long way since then. There's even a chipping pen that comes with it to tag cats so that we can keep track of them. It's an extremely valuable piece of equipment. Chungus, it cannot be easily replaced, so I need you to guard it with your life if needs be. I think he's joking at first, but he looks so intense that I decide to take him seriously. This is very much the same, isn't it? Right. Speedy, speedy, speed. Yes, sir, of course I will. Good, you'll be able to get to know all the functions as you go along, but for now I suggest we take a stroll out and see if we can't find a few cats for you to try it out on. So I spend the next hour scanning cats under the watchful eye of the professor. We don't get to go meet the kitties again this time. As I unpack and settle into my tent, I notice something odd. A little dugout under my bed. Aha, this is new. I reach in and pull out an unexpected find, the personal journal of the previous research assistant, the one before me. They must have forgotten it, or left it behind? It's an absolute goldmine of information. It's going to get me up to speed with how it all works around here in no time. However, it seems something else was happening here on the island. Something was troubling them. I get the feeling there's far more going on here than the professor would have me know. In spite of my increasing tiredness, I continue to read, and the journal gets weirder and weirder, to the point where I'm not sure if I'm still reading, or if I've dozed off and am now dreaming of talking cats and kidnappings. Eventually, I lose the battle, and drift into a deep sleep. So how do I get scratched then? That is the question, isn't it? I wake with a start, and it takes me a moment to get my brain into gear. I can hear a scratching sound, and rustling of paper coming from the tent flap. It's a cat with something in its mouth. Suddenly, I'm wide awake. No! It has the journal! Ah, this is how. Wait! But it's disappeared into the night. Before I know it, I'm out in the cold of night chasing it, running with all my might. I must get that book back. It has everything I need to know in it. Barefoot, dressed only in a t-shirt and shorts, running at full speed into the forest in the dark of night. This is familiar. I know, I read this in the journal. Something similar happened to the previous assistant. Yeah, here I am, falling into the same trap. I must be crazy. I slow to a stop. I think I'm going to be sick. Of course, I realise. I'm close to the danger zone. Everything goes black, and I fall to the ground. And this is how I got scratched. Silly old me. I was warned and everything. But wait! Cute kitties! I open my eyes. A calico cat, one that I scanned yesterday, is standing in front of me. She drops the journal from her mouth. I pass out. Oh, Chungus. Oh, me. What have I done? Yay, the kitties are back! Hello, I say. Can you hear me? Are you okay? Here we go again. Move back a bit, let them breathe. Has it been bitten? The Sphinx cat is standing over me, staring as I open my eyes. Yes, definitely bitten. Look at its hand. I bring my hand up to my face, and through blurry vision I can make out several deep scratches and puncture marks. The cats watch me intently. Is this real? I read something in the journal about kidnapping. Catnapping! Yeah, ha 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 ha. I was sorry, it was the only way. You stole the journal. Oh, but I gave it back to you. But why did you take it? To lure you out here, sucker. There's no need for rudeness, Kibbles. My head has begun to clear, and I realise that if I can talk to these cats, not only is it all true, but it's already too late. I have the sickness. We need to have a talk, human. No, we don't. I know what's going on here. I read all about it from your last victim. Now, Kara, that's not very nice. We prefer to think of you as our champion and friend. McMurphy, you silver-tongued Irish charmer. My reputation goes before me. Oh, I know who you all are from the journal, so let's cut to the chase here. Thinking of McMurphy, I'm beginning to think that maybe we should have gone on the third date with him, and then we might have successfully romanced him. So, what I think we need to do this time is 3 dates with a cat, see if that works. We just did that, dummy. You know what I mean. What happens now? That rather depends on you, human. So, what do you say? You gonna help us or not? Help the kitties! Of course we're helping the kitties. I suppose my fate is already sealed. I may as well do my best to help you sort this mess out. Spoken like a true champion. Well, let's hope this one's better than the last one. I doubt that will be too taxing. Ooh, burn. Unfortunately, they didn't get very far to discovering an antidote or what happened to our friends. My catalogue starts beeping. Oh, my alarm, I have to get to work. Go! And thanks from all of us. Right, well, here we go again. Let's see if we can't be a little bit more successful, eh? I make it back to the lab fairly quickly, considering how little sleep I've had. I wonder if that's one of the effects of the feline transition. I imagine my agility levels will change. I'm strangely excited about getting to work on the antidote. It's the sort of challenge I love. I'm just about to enter the lab to begin my legitimate work when the catalogue beeps a message without any contact information. Some things are best kept to oneself. Ominous. I don't have time to work this puzzle out right now though. I'm already going to be late for work if I don't get a move on. The professor is already working when I arrive, but miraculously I'm not late, so there's no fuss. I get through the day as efficiently as possible and head back to my tent as soon as my work is done. I want to get to grips with finding out all I can as soon as possible. Sounds like we're going to be a bit of a keen bean. We are going to smash this. It's going to be great. Right. What are we going to do today, guys? Let's see which kiddies we can go out with. Obviously the first choice. So we've got Snooty Booty. Oh, McMurphy's gone. Why is he gone? He's not locked, but he's gone. Very strange. And we've got Floofy Butt. Floofy, Floofy. I do love Floofy Butt. He's magnificent. I'm not sure what to expect. I've come to the forest with Floofy Butt for what I assumed would be a pleasant way to spend my afternoon off work. But now I have discovered that he's billing it as an informative afternoon of instruction and practical participation. That sounds suspiciously like a lecture to me. Oh well, as Professor Pauper would say, a scientist must keep an open mind. This is something I would normally do alone, but you strike me as a like-minded soul, interested in both gastronomic and anatomic pleasures. Perhaps now would be a good time to lay down the blanket I asked you to bring. We don't want to put that tender skin of yours under duress. Oh, have we come for a picnic? I lay the blanket on the ground awkwardly and wonder where he's going with this. Relax, Chungers. This usually doesn't take very long. Suddenly, without warning, there's a loud plop as a bird plummets out of the sky onto the blanket. Told you so. Oh my, it's dead. As a doornail. But what happened to it? Just the force field, of course. Now, enough foolish questions, Chungers. Let's get started, shall we? Just like the lecturers from my uni. What exactly are we doing here, Floofy Butt? I told you, don't use that ridiculous name. I prefer Major, if you please. What exactly are we doing here, Major? This is my little surprise. I'm a bird fancier. Oh, and you fancy your birds dead? Quite. All the best to practice my other pursuit. I know I'm going to regret asking this, but what pursuit would that be, Major? He's gonna eat it, duh. I'm a self-taught pathologist. You mean as in post-mortem? Somewhat rudimentary, don't you know? But I can now find my way around the innards of the average seagull with remarkable dexterity. Well, that's something, isn't it? Yes, well, whatever floats your boat. I'm interested in crossword puzzles myself. Not everyone's cup of tea, but it occupies a wet afternoon. Apparently the security guard's also into those, so maybe we should have spoke to him rather than last time. Who knows? Okay, back to the task at hand, Chungers. I shall now begin the autopsy. Keep your wits about you. There will be questions at the end. Oh gosh. Aha! I knew this was a lecture. Floofy Butt pings out a razor-sharp claw and begins going to town on the bird. Oh, that is a glorious picture, isn't it? Oh, I enjoy this so much. Incision from sternum to base. On first examination, the skeleton appears to be typical. I notice there is no break in the neck, indicating that the force field, rather than the fall, killed the bird. I feel rather queasy. Oh, really? Yes, point of interest. Sometimes the initial zap the bird receives from flying into the force field merely stuns them, and it is the impact of the fall which provides the fatal blow. This chap, however, appears to have suffered cardiac arrest. You can see from the size, or lack thereof, of the heart that even a minor jolt could be enough to induce seizure. Having removed the tiny organ, Major has now begun digging around inside the carcass as though rummaging in a lucky dip. Now, removing entrails for further examination. Oh, do get a better look, Chungers. It's rather revealing. I can see something in the stomach sac. Stomach sac? It looks like... Oh my, it's gold! Our lucky day. Chungus, here, have a look. It's some kind of nugget. No, thank you, Major. I'm not in the mood for playing with the contents of a seagull's stomach. Don't be ridiculous. This is not a game, Chungus. May I remind you that we are in the middle of a very serious post-mortem, and I expect you, as my assistant, to maintain professionalism. My stomach is doing flips as I hold the object between thumb and forefinger. What is this thing? It's so small. It looks kind of like a... Cripes, it's a tooth, Major, a gold tooth. Ah, good find. You're a natural. I can't help but wonder why a seagull would have a gold tooth in its stomach. Presumably, Major, this is from the mouth of a human. I think you're probably right. So how did it get into the seagull? What an inquiring mind. You would make an excellent apprentice. If you like, I could pass on to you the skills I have acquired. That would be a feather in your cap, eh? I resign myself to the fact that he's not going to be drawn into speculation. Okay, well, I'll bear that in mind, Major. I don't have the heart to tell him that I came top in my class at veterinary surgery. Well, if you came top in your class at veterinary surgery, why are you so creeped out and queasy from the sight of the seagull in it? Questions, eh? And now, to the victor, the spoils. Don't be shy, I've already carved. Oh gosh, do you mean... Of course, tuck in. We won't stand on ceremony here. It's a good one too. Plenty of fat. I knew you were going to eat him. Yes! I have to think fast. Do I really want to eat raw seagull carved up by a cat on the forest floor? Well, yeah, why not? Why not? I suppose it would be frightfully rude to refuse now, seeing he's gone to all the trouble of carving? Oh, silly me. I already had lunch before we came out, but it looks so delicious that I simply must try a bit. A tiny bit. A morsel. Very well, Chungus, then I shall leave you the tastiest part of all, the liver. That sounds gross, but thank you, Major. The cat deftly tears an organ out of the carcass and presents it to me on a flat paw. Very fatty. Oh, wow, that's too much, Major. I mean, too generous. As tempted as I am, I simply couldn't. Nonsense, Chungus. I insist. I would feel a very poor host indeed if my guest refused my hospitality. Okay, Chungus, you can do this. Think of it as liver and onions, the way Mum makes it. Even that's pretty gross, to be fair. Blech. Okay, breathe. Don't think about it. Just take it and swallow it whole like an iron pill. I'm really going to enjoy this seagull liver. I snatch it out of the cat's paw, and it's in my mouth before my brain can catch up. Oh no. It's in my throat. It's lodged in my throat. I can't swallow it. What do I do? How do I... Cough. Crikey, that was a close call. I catch the organ in my clenched fist and simultaneously give Floofy Butt the thumbs up. Exquisite. My compliments to the... cat. Quite so. Next time, make sure you have an empty stomach. Unlike this chap, eh? Floofy Butt holds up the gold tooth and laughs. I try to force a laugh, but I'm suddenly overwhelmed with nausea. I've had a truly lovely time here, Major, but I'm afraid I must go now. So soon? Sadly so. Work calls. Well, I suppose that can't be helped, but let's do this again soon, eh? Yes, of course, soon. I can hardly wait. As I run home, feeling the slimy, sticky mess clinging to my hand, I curse myself for not bringing my antiseptic gel. Next time, I will be prepared. Well, that was not quite the time out I was expecting to have, but that was rather exciting, wasn't it? What are we going to do today? Well, we're up to 11% of this antidote now. We are making some progress there. Let's go on another date. We are going to do all 5 of them this time. Oh damn it! Snooty Booty's broken-hearted again. Why can't we ever get to you, eh? And I'm still not sure what's happened to McMurphy there. Unless McMurphy was only available to the first person, and the fact that we only went on 2 dates ruined our chances with McMurphy, is that right? I don't know, I'm not sure. Well, looks like we're off with Floofy again. I think that might have been the thing with McMurphy though. I feel a bit sad. I'm sorry, Murph. I didn't mean to do that to you. Do hold your hand still, Chungus. I can hardly see a thing with you shaking like that. I'm gonna make it up to you. I'm gonna go all the way with Major. It's gonna be great. I hold the binoculars stable in front of Floofy Butt's tiny cat face. He looks ridiculous. It's like you're not even trying, Chungus. You're shaking like a leaf. My hands are totally steady, Major. Ever consider it could just be your eyesight? I'll have you know I have the keen eyes of a goat. Are goats known for having keen eyes? Goats aren't exactly known for their vision, Major. That's just because the world is full of ignorami. Well, what can you see? I can only see a couple of mulers. Laying around, of course, scratching at their fleas. Filthy things, I tell you. Aha! What? One of the bigger ones is emptying its bladder. That could mean that they do eat and drink on a regular schedule. Or it could just mean it needs a wee. And if we were able to find out where their water supply is, we could lace it with a mild sedative, bring the incapacitated sample to the beach and... Please don't finish that sentence. No cats will be harmed during this mission. Just seagulls, apparently. Oh please, the subject will not be harmed, just slightly bewildered for a day or two. But why, Major? Well, to examine it for a start. Also, I should like to see how they react when one of theirs go missing for a change. This is a little sinister, Major. Major, I only agreed to help you with this on the promise that you will not attempt to exact any kind of retribution on the elders. Examination is one thing, but if you can't keep your end of the deal, then I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to withdraw. Okay, I'll just observe. I replaced the binoculars in front of Floofy Butt's keen goat eyes. Well, what do we have here? Found something? I do believe I have. There's a few elders here who seem to be meditating. Meditating? Are you sure they're not just sleeping? That sounds more reasonable for a cat, doesn't it? Take a look, will ya? Tell me they aren't meditating. Oh, interesting. I adjust the binoculars to suit my eyes, and I'm quite taken aback by what I see. Floofy Butt is right. The cats aren't sleeping. They're sitting in a circle around what is by far one of the stranger landmarks on the island. A large state of Bastet. I think that might mean statue. Professor Pauper has always dodged my questions about what on earth a statue of the Egyptian cat goddess of war is doing on the island. I'm even more intrigued now. The cats seem to be listening, or contemplating, or even meditating. Well, Major, I'm sure there's a perfectly good explanation for their behaviour. Cats often behave quite strangely, I've found. Well, they're strange, and then they're strange, and in my experience teaches me that the type of strangeness that this class are afflicted with is beyond acceptable. I believe the only way to protect us all is total dissociation. I mean, it's not like you're really best buds with them anyway, is it? So... Major, do you hear yourself? We're here, practically trespassing on their territory so that you can spy on them while they're doing whatever it is they're doing, and you want dissociation from them? One must know one's enemy, Chungus. How are they your enemy, Major? They've never done anything to you. Oh no. Those mulers are wholly responsible for the problems on this cursed island, and it's about time they were held accountable. They are the carriers of the cat virus. If it weren't for them, you wouldn't be afflicted with illness. Oh, is that so? Because I distinctly remember it was you lot who deliberately put me in danger in the first place. The elders are just cats. Just cats. Just cats, eh? Oh, I see. I realise what I've said, and although I didn't intend it in the way Major has taken it, I can see how wounded he is. I feel conflicted. On one hand, I want to take a stand against his bigotry. It's not helping our progress, and I believe it may end up ruining our friendship. On the other hand, I know he has a good heart. As Trixie says, he's just stuck in his ways, and it would be wrong of me to start pushing my views onto him. Perhaps I can lead by example and practice a little more tolerance myself. Decision time? Well, to be fair, my views as this character are all about, like, tolerance and that, so maybe we should be diplomatic and be quiet, and, like, practice my own tolerance, you know? Something. Well, I've done it now. Oh, come on, Major, I didn't mean it that way. You know I have the highest regard for all cats, and particularly you. An eye for you, Chungus. However, I must say, I find it increasingly difficult to fathom how such an intelligent person as yourself fails to recognise such obvious truths. Okay, perhaps I haven't given you a fair hearing. Maybe my own opinions got in the way. So go on then, you have my full attention. Teach me, Major. Well, that's more like it. He pulls himself up and fluffs out his fur. It gives him an air of self-importance, so much so that, in spite of my promise to be open-minded, I'm already feeling a bit irritated. You see, what you and the other pedestrian-minded inhabitants of this island will not do is look at the undeniable evidence that this species is the cause of all our problems. The evidence being... well, firstly, they have segregated themselves from us and created a ghetto where we have been made unwelcome. That is an act of hostility. I want to point out that they haven't created anything, that they have always been there, but I'm practicing tact and diplomacy. Secondly, they carry the virus. Feline transitional gene. Quite. They're trying to infect everyone, make us all like them, and they will have their way too if we don't fight back. I bite my tongue and resist telling him that he's far more likely that they are not trying to infect anyone. They simply want to live and let live. They probably don't even understand the effect their body fluids have on other species. I mean, wait, when did we ever prove that it was their bodily fluids that were causing these issues? Was I just not paying attention to that part? I mean, I know it's their bites that cause the issue, but... Anyway, thirdly, it should be obvious to everyone that they have made no attempts whatsoever to learn our language. If they were congenial towards us, they would surely have tried to communicate with us by now. Maybe they just don't like you, Floof. I try to keep my voice amicable. I know how frustrating it is when you can't make yourself understood, Major. Very frustrating. I'm glad you see that, Chungus. At least I have one ally in all of this. Maybe now is the time to strike. You know what, Major? I'll bet that with that superior intellect of yours and my research skills, we might be able to find a way to learn their language. I hold my breath. Why on earth would we want to do that? To communicate? Have you lost your mind, Chungus? To say nothing of your sense of smell? I mean, you were the one suggesting a minute ago that they should be learning our language. It's only fair, right? Huh? I doubt that they have anything worthwhile to communicate. They are no more to us than an insect under a microscope. Oh. The smell, however, that is rather overpowering. Should we call it a day here and go somewhere where the air is more pleasant for our lunch? I'm feeling very uncomfortable now, and I want to get away to think. Actually, Major, I have to get back. I'm on feeding duty today. If you like, I can put something by for you. Very well. I shall call by the mess tent later. As I make my way back to camp, I can't help but feeling I ought to have handled this differently. I wonder if honesty may have made more progress with Floof. Diplomacy just feels like pandering to him, really. Yeah, I think, yeah, maybe I should have been more honest and told him he was being a bit of a plonker. Who knows? Well, what shall we do now? Options. What recon have we got today? Ooh, 2 new ones have unlocked for us. Trixie has been telling me about a strange phenomenon in a nearby rock pool. I've decided it's probably worth checking out. Let's do it. We haven't seen much of Trixie anyway. I've taken some time off today so that Trixie can show me the water pool she's been telling me about. I have some sample bottles in my backpack along with some food and a blanket. If it's nice, we can have a picnic lunch there. Sounds rather lovely. So, these pools appear to be different colours. They don't appear to be, Humi. They are. Well, we can't prove that until we've tested them. Reflection, refraction and dispersion can play some fancy tricks on the eye. Pooh to your testing. You take all the magic away. Science person, it makes your world very dull, I think. Maybe you're right, Trixie. Let's wait and see what wonders you're going to show me, eh? That's right. This way! She's disappeared from sight. I run to the cliffside where she was walking, and looking over the edge I can see that she's jumped to a small rock shelf about 4 meters down from where I'm stood. Come on, you can do it. Don't be afraidy, cat. I'm more concerned about how I will get back up again, actually. There are kind of steps further along, but this way is closer to the entrance. Not wanting to appear too much of a killjoy, I clamber over the edge and lower myself down, dropping the last few feet. Impressive! You're getting a feline spring in your step. I mean, that's not a good thing, is it? That means we are gradually on the way to death. If you say so. I'm worried I may have twisted my ankle, but I don't want to say anything. Follow me, Springy! She's disappeared again. It's like keeping up with a jackrabbit. Follow my voice. And suddenly, An alarming sound is coming from between two rock faces. It's high-pitched screeching and very, very loud. I squeeze through the crevice, and I'm in what looks like a cave without a ceiling. Trix, stop! The sound is so amplified in this enclosure, it has become deafening. Sorry, Humi, but it feels so good. Have a try. What? Yell, shout, scream, sing at the top of your voice, loud as you can. Oh, really? I feel self-conscious, but I am dying to have a go. You only live once, and it's so fabulous. She makes the noise again, and this time I join in. It's fantastic. The acoustics are something else. It's like an amphitheatre. Eventually, we run out of steam, and I flop to the ground, exhausted, but exhilarated too. After we've caught our breath, I'm ready to push onwards. We'd better get on if we don't want to be back too late. We're here! Oh wow, look at that! That's marvellous! I'm surprised. I was expecting something more impressive, I suppose. Well, I'm pretty impressed, Trix, don't worry. This is the place? I look around, and for the first time I notice several small pools of water, not much larger than puddles, around the edge of the enclosure. Oh, I see. I bend down next to the nearest pool and see straight away that it is the deepest red. It looks like blood. Look at mine, like liquid sky. I cross to the opposite side where Trixie is sitting, and sure enough, there is the clearest, richest blue water. And melted emeralds. Again, I follow her to find another pool as green as spring foliage. Then another of deepest purple, one of orange, yellow, pink. Well, it certainly is as amazing as you said, Trix. How strange that they are all so different. What's causing it? It has to be a trick of the light. Put your hand in. Well, I'm not sure that could be a good idea. There could be any number of bacteria making this happen. Best not to touch until we're sure it's safe. I've done it lots. It's fine. I glance over, and sure enough, she has her furry little paws in the golden-coloured water. Somewhat reassured, I scoop some of the blue water up and sniff it. It smells wonderful, as though it has been perfumed. What is that smell? It's weirdly familiar. I take out my bottles and begin collecting the waters. My theory about the light is blown when I line the bottles up together, and they each retain their original hue. Something is dyeing this water. I can't wait to get back to the lab and run some tests. We can go back the easy way if you like. Follow me! We head back along the rock shelf and go past the spot we jumped down on the way here. Further along there is an ascent, just as Trixie had said, but I would hardly call it steps. Someone has clearly tried to make a trail here, but it's all a bit rough and ready. Further along still, I can make out a large empty metal drum. It's rusted, obviously discarded some time ago. I get a closer look and see that there is a tap near the base, and the remains of a label, but I can barely make out the words. I take a picture of it with my catalogue to decipher later. The perfume I smelled in the cave seems to be stronger here. I'm very intrigued. Trixie couldn't be less interested in all of this. She is happily skipping ahead, looking for a good picnic spot for us. I'll have to be patient with my investigations. Interesting. Maybe we're going to make more progress with this character. You never know, eh? Right. 1 heart left. Time for a rest. You had a lovely nap and wake up feeling revitalised. I like that kind of day. Your energy has been restored. Magic. Okay, perfect. So now we're feeling all pumped up and revitalised. Let's go on another kitty date. And yes, still no McMurph in his frame. Snooty is still angry. So, Floofy it is. Where are you taking us today, Floof? We've been walking for ages, Major. I don't have much longer before they'll expect me back. Almost there. It needs to be as close to the danger zone as possible to deter snoopers. Few cats and even fewer humans come out this far, which ensures that my deposits are safe. Do I want to ask what your deposits are? That sounds pretty gross. Deposits? This is an act of trust, you understand. I believe that our recent disagreement and resulting reconciliation has made our bond of camaraderie stronger than ever, and I would like to solidify our reunion with the sharing of something quite private and important to me. I feel slightly awkward and mumble incoherently in response. Yeah, well, What's past in the past is water under the bridge and all that. I am delighted, though, that you have reviewed and modified some of your stronger opinions, Major. Updated your map, so to speak. Indeed, though, for the record, I'm still uneasy about the new elders, but I grant that finding a way to speak with them might provide more insight than I'd assumed. Well, we really are on the same page now, Major. We come to a halt. I can smell the pungent scent of the elder cats. I've not been this close to them since that first night, and it makes me uncomfortable, but I feel surprisingly reassured to be with Floofybutt. This is it. We must be completely silent now, so you'll have to cease that unattractive sound you're making. I'm out of breath, Major. I can't help it. Besides, you're talking, so you're making just as much noise as me. What I'm about to show you has taken a long time, and a lot of effort on my part. If anyone else should get wind of its whereabouts, or even its existence. Yes, okay, Major, I get it. I swear the most prestigious of pinky promises that I will not utter a word to anyone about whatever I see today. Right, this had better be good now. Come on, show me something exciting. Floofybutt seems satisfied and makes an effort to straighten himself out before motioning towards a large tree. Ahem. This, my dear, is my treasure. Oh my goodness. What a handsome tree you have there, Major. Very tall and proud looking. Congratulations? Oh, for goodness sake, come over here. Floofybutt leads me around the enormous tree to its hidden side, which has a large hollow in it that looks like it leads to a tunnel. Good God, man, are you digging an escape route out of here? What on earth are you twittering about? Use your eyes more and your mouth less, my dear. I noticed then that hidden in the dark recess of the tree is the outline of a large object, which my eyes won't allow me to see clearly. What is it, Major? Don't be shy, Chungers. Get in there and have a proper look. I have no choice but to crawl into the cavity for closer inspection. I run my fingers over the item and deduce that it is made out of an old splintering wood and has cold metal adornments on either side. I use them to drag it out of the tree, and in the half-light, I am somewhat unsurprised to see that it is an old-fashioned treasure chest. I would expect nothing less from the Major. Floofybutt is looking at me expectantly. Well, open it, my dear. You needn't worry about the lock. It's quite broken. I do as instructed. Oh my giddy aunt, Major, how on earth? The chest is full to the brim with all sorts of shiny things. Jewellery, gems, coins, trinkets, ornaments, baubles, and all manner of curios. Floofybutt lets out a low laugh. Allow me to regale you, human, with my vast adventures and conquests. I settle down and allow the Major's voice to wash over me as I play with some items of frippery from the chest. Now that is a good word. Frippery! Ah, that coin you're holding. That's a very interesting story attached to that. Do you know how old it is, Chungers? I do believe the date on it should still be legible. I remember the night I found it. I'd gone for a walk along the beach. It was blustery and dark. I feel, for the first time, how exhausted I am. The walk has sapped me of all my energy. And as I fought with the elements, I look ahead and notice the sky is much darker. I'm laying down, although I don't remember doing so. Valiant and victorious to thunderous applause, I hear a low grumbling sound. Thunder? And a flashing behind my now closed eyes. Surely it's a storm. But there's no rain. That's odd. No wet. Just warm and dry and hard to breathe. And I bellowed defiantly, "You cannot have them!" But the Muellers were already encircling. I'm totally not listening to these stories, am I? I should really get up now. Oh, it seems my eyes won't open. That's a pity. And as I bit into the still beating heart, I do believe I'm paralysed. That is a shame. I tried to move my fingers. Nope, they're not listening to me. What is going on? Oh my god, what is this? Wake up! We have to get you out of here this instant. Up you get. That's it, come on. Oh my gosh, what has happened to you? Floofybutt. As I come to, the world looks dark and distorted. I must be walking because trees are passing my line of vision. My hands hurt. I look down at them, and they are pressed firmly to the earth, one moving in front of the other. I must be crawling? I don't know how much time has passed, but I wake up on the sand. I inspect my blistering hands. Floofy Butt is sitting next to me, facing the sea. Did I dream all that? Oh, you're awake. No, I'm afraid you weren't dreaming. What happened? It was my fault. I took you too close to the danger zone, and in your current state you couldn't handle it. In my current state? Your feline transition is still in its early stages. It seems to be progressing particularly slowly in you. So, I'm still very vulnerable to the effects of the elder territory. Quite. I was foolish. I didn't think... I was too interested in myself, my stories, my treasure, to protect you properly. Please forgive me. Yeah, I'll forgive ya. It's fine. Oh, it's okay, Major. Don't upset yourself. I had a lot of fun until the whole blackout thing. And to be fair, the whole bizarre green-blue look was really quite good on you. Floofy Butt looks genuinely pleased. Really? I have been told I'm a very good raconteur. One of the best. How much did you hear? I'm sorry? How many of my anecdotes did you hear before you succumbed? I would be happy to repeat anything you missed. It's okay. Oh no, really, Major, I'm fairly certain I heard them all. Well, if you're quite sure. I am. And besides, I think I have a migraine coming on. Well, in that case, you must allow me to nurse you until you are fully recovered. Okay, Major, it's a deal. Major? Yes? Why do I have earrings in my hair? I had to pelt you with jewellery to get you to wake up. Ah, of course. If you don't mind, Major, I think I need to get back to sleep. I lay back down on the warm sand and curl into a ball. I'll be here when you wake up. I drift off and dream that I'm a cat. Slightly ominous, all things considered. Like the fact we are turning into a cat. Okay, well, that was exciting, wasn't it? We're up to a whole 15%. We should probably do some research, and I think we've got one more recon that we can do. So if we click on this, just out of interest, so we could still go out with Floof again, and those two are still gone, but I think for the moment, let's do a nice research mission. We should start with some research, to be honest. Okay. Oh, well, only research 4 is an option for me right now, so it looks like we are doing research 4. Grooming cats. I put on my latex gloves and gather my tools. Brush, scissors, swabs, kitty wipes. I can't help but think I've forgotten something. Ah, of course. Treats! I leave the tent and head for the lab, stopping to stroke a few of the island's residents on the way. Meow meow! Oh my god, am I actually becoming a cat here? Look at that, I've got whiskers and ears. I call out to the lazing subjects as I enter the lab. Oh, my face is normal again. Looky look, what have I got? I shake the bag of treats, and the small lab erupts with hungry meows. If you want these, you'll have to behave, okay? I open the first crate, home of the grouchy old Mr. Bumble, and I gently lift him onto the counter to be groomed. Morning, Grumpy. Let me check your ears. No debris. Lovely. I have a feeling you may be discharged in the next day or two. He was brought in with a mild infection, slight temperature, weepy eyes, but he seems to have recovered remarkably well. In fact, I'm going to recommend to Professor Purrfect that we release him by the end of the week. I give Mr. Bumble a cheeky cuddle before I begin to brush his matted fur. Wow, where does it all come from? There's enough fur here to make another cat. Mr. Bumble is beginning to get agitated and lets out a displeased grumble. I know, it's very annoying. Just got to trim you up a bit and then you can get back to sleep. He resignedly lets me cut some of the hair around his bum and the back of his hind legs. Aren't you a good boy? Here we go. Om nom nom nom. I pour some of the little fish-shaped treats onto the counter, and the ragamuffin practically inhales them. Now, let's get you back to your cosy crate. I tuck him away and open the next one. Your turn, Socks. Just a cut and colour, yeah? I snort at my own joke and begin brushing the little white cat. He's a lot more lively than old Bumble and keeps trying to bite the brush. Hey, don't make me get the harness, Socks. That's no fun for either of us. The cat seems to understand and settles down, only giving the brush an occasional nip when he thinks I won't notice. Oh, hello, what's this? I notice a little red patch on his neck, just under his chin. Oh no, we don't have botflies, do we? Poor Soxy. I take the magnifying glass out of my inner pocket and examine the inflamed area closer. Ouch! Sox begins to struggle away from me. He must be in quite a lot of discomfort. It's okay, Sox, I'm just looking. I stroke the little cat to try and calm him down. I hate using sedatives on the subjects unless absolutely necessary. After a while, I'm able to get a better look at the wound. There doesn't seem to be anything living under here. I'm relieved I don't have to deal with any botflies. It looks strange. It's like a rash or a sore, but I'm not sure how we could have picked it up. I'm wary about how to proceed. Should I just clean it with some saline solution and let the air get to it? Or should I put on some of the Professor's soothing cream 116 on it and wrap it in gauze? I mean, if it's bothering the kitty, give it some cream to soothe him? Cream 116 is designed for conditions like this, so I suppose it's what I should use. As I approach, Sox arches his back and puffs up his fur. I'm surprised by his reaction. He's normally quite a brave little soldier. Maybe it stings. I dab a little of the cream onto my arm to see what the effect is. After a few minutes I realise what a twit I'm being. The cream designed for a cat is hardly going to affect my skin. I get on with the job in hand, and apply the cream to a very peeved Sox. Later that evening, I notice a small patch of smooth pale skin on my arm, and realise the hair has rubbed off. Oh no, have I made Sox bald? Unintentional. Okay, yes, new unlocks, research 6, kitties. Okay. Interesting. Right, well. Oh, that was quite beneficial, wasn't it? 16%. You never know, we might not die yet. What are we going to do? Let's do another recon mission. Recon 7. Snoots has brought me something intriguing. I better check it out. Maybe Snoots will be less grumpy with us once we've done this mission with them. You never know. Chungus, are you still sleeping? You really ought to be awake by now. Snooty Booty, are you okay? What are you doing in my tent? All this lazing about is very bad for your complexion, to say nothing about the dragging effects on the delicate tissue around the eyes. Is there something I can help you with? Possibly. I have something I want you to look at. Right now? What time is it? Time you are active. Come along. Well, at least let me get ready. Very well. Snooty Booty sits down and starts grooming herself. After a moment, she looks up again. Well, aren't you ready yet? Can you, leave the tent so I can get dressed? For goodness sake. Snooty Booty rolled her eyes and walked out. I get dressed resignedly and follow her. Core, I'm a fusspot today, aren't I? What do you think it is? I'm intrigued. We are on the beach, staring at a partially buried bottle sealed inside a plastic bag. It looks as though it has only recently washed up. Well, there's really only one way to find out. I pull the bottle out of the sand. It has some kind of document or note in the bag, along with the bottle. What is that thing? Read it to me. It's a good thing I'm just as curious as Snooty, or I would be feeling a lot more irritable by now. I carefully unseal the bag and unfold the paper. I read the note out loud. Initial tests on the most recent formula are encouraging. Subjects 6 through 18 appeared visibly younger. Moderate to severe side effects noted, including increased hair growth and marked mood alteration. Subjects 1 through 5 had major complications. Some new small tumours, skin irritation, partial blindness and memory loss. We need you to look into this, check for contaminants and continue to iterate on the formula. I mean, those are pretty big side effects, aren't they? Appeared visibly younger? Snooty Booty, is that the most important thing you gathered from this report? You're quite right, Chungus. We ought not to trust it. The note could have been written by anyone. We shall conduct our own experiment. Apply the cream to my skin. I'm not sure that's a good idea, is it? Have you lost your mind, Snooty Booty? Did you not hear what I read out? Tumours, blindness, memory loss? Statistics bore me. You should know that by now. Let's live a little. I'm willing to take the risk in the name of science. I don't want to kill you. No. We're not taking any risks, Snooty Booty. You wait here while I go and get my kit bag from the lab. Let's see if we can't work out what this stuff is made of. That sounds safer. I was hoping the lab would be free, but the professor is in here making some notes. Ah, hello, Chungers. I thought you were taking a day off from the lab today. Oh yes, I am, Professor. I just wanted to check something. I can't take the test equipment away without the professor getting suspicious. I'll have to come up with some kind of excuse. Let's see what we can come up with. Well, I wanted to get ahead on some of the fieldwork. There are some samples I found that I think could be useful. I pick up the field kit bag. Purrfect looks up from his work. Oh, what sort of samples? I have to make this believable, but also invite no other questions. The samples are fecal. Fecal? Yes, a large poo, sir. It has rather interesting properties. Jolly good, off you go then. Yeah, no one's going to ask questions about poo samples, are they? Nailed it! I take the bag and leave. As I approach the beach, it becomes clear Snooty Booty has managed to break into the ointment. She appears to have spilled something and is now busy rolling around in it. Oh, you muppet, you. Snooty Booty, what were you thinking? This could be very dangerous. The only danger here is this ghastly sand sticking to my delicate skin. Do help me get rid of it, Chungers. I try to wipe the sand off, but it is stuck like glue. Underneath the layer of sand, I can see her skin is very pink. There's no time to lose. I pick her up and run to the ocean, trying to use the seawater to clean off as much of the ointment as I can. Put me down! What on earth? I've never been so humiliated in all my life. She twists out of my grip and scampers off in a huff. I think I've got it all off, so I leave her to it. Now, back to the samples. There's not much I can do here on the beach, so I'll just have to wait until Professor Purrfect has finished in the lab. Well, that was quick. As luck would have it, the professor needed to retire to his tent earlier than usual. He has to read some research papers that have arrived from the mainland this morning. So now, I can continue looking into this ointment. I begin by testing the substances for several common compounds found in cosmetics, but it's negative for all of them. Ooh, whatever could it be? I widen the tests for other organic compounds. I get a match. About 30% of the ointment is... cat saliva? If they're using saliva from the cats on the island, they could be infecting all their test subjects with catification. But where have these other side effects come from? I run the ointment again, this time looking for known pharmaceuticals, but before I can get the results back, Snooty Booty comes trotting in. I just thought you should know that the security guard is coming this way. You should make yourself scarce before he arrives. Not would I care what happens to you after you threw me in the ocean. I have no time to finish this experiment now, but I will work on it later, in the privacy of my tent. I take my things and run before Zane arrives. What's wrong with Zane? He's not the one that blimmin' shot me. He's fairly reasonable if boring and crosswordy. Okay, well, we've nearly hit 20%, so that's got to be progress, right? What are we going to do now? Is that all the recon missions done? Oh, you're looking a little tired. You only have one heart remaining. If you choose to continue, it could have negative consequences. Fair point, and that is the answer. You can't clear out all 4 hearts and then rest. You have to rest at 3. Let's have a rest. I sit in the position Professor Purrfect taught me. Legs crossed, back straight, wrists resting lightly on my knees, and fingers formed into loose circles with forefinger and thumb touching gently. I close my eyes and hear a rhythmic purring, slow and steady. My fur prickles at the sea breeze, and my ears twist at the distant sounds of feet on wood and seagulls crying in another faraway place. The smell of the sea fills my nostrils. The taste of salt fills my mouth. I begin to focus on my breathing and the rhythm of my heartbeat, allowing my mind to drift. As I take a deep breath in, the tide comes creeping towards me, as though I'm pulling it. When it's just centimetres away from my bare toes, I slowly release my outward breath to a count of 5 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With each beat, I push the tide back into the horizon until it's almost touching the rising sun. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5. drifting now, without attachment to thought, my mind free from worry and care. It was very peaceful, that, wasn't it? Almost zen. And it got us all our hearts back. Woo! So, the question was, are there any more recon missions? Or have we done them all? Yes. Everything is locked. So, none more of those to complete. So, we've got research and we've got romance. Is Floof the only one that was willing to go out with us still? Yes, he is. I mean, we have the potential for 2 more blobs of romance to be completed. Do we want to just go on more dates with Floof? Should we do another date with Floof? Come on, Floof. Where are you taking us today? I've rushed out to the forest on Floofybutt's insistence that I meet him at the location of his treasure chest. After the incident, we called on McMurphy and Kibbles to help us drag it to a new spot, further away from the older territory. Major, are you okay? I was in the middle of preparing lunch when I received your urgent summons. Quite. I was poring through my collection just now and couldn't help but reflect upon some of our adventures. Oh, so you dragged me away from the kitchen to reminisce? Indeed, I have grown rather fond of our expeditions together. I do seem to find more unique articles when you accompany me. You've trained me well, Major. Any advancement I've made in the treasure hunting field is entirely thanks to you. Yes, I mean, no, you have natural ability. Rather impressive. You flatter me, Major. Not at all. I'm a fair cat. It is my belief that good work deserves just reward. Reward? Indeed, and so I felt it would be only right to let you keep an item from my inventory so that you may start a collection of your own. That's too kind of you, Major. I'm touched. Yes, well, let's have a look, shall we? You may choose whatever you like, my dear. Absolutely anything. I peer into Floofybutt's treasure chest. All the gems and bits of precious metals sparkle and glint in the sunlight. I gently move some of the more bijou trinkets out of the way and dig deep for the good stuff. Wow! I grasp a red gem, almost the size of my fist. I wonder if it's a ruby, but before I can begin to examine it, Floofybutt has swiped it away with his paw. No idea what that is doing in there. I think I see how this is going to go. Anything else, Chungus? Whatever you like. How about this? I untangle a string of pearl, creamy, iridescent, clearly very good quality, even to my untrained eye. Floofy looks uncomfortable. Yes, they're rather special, aren't they? I do have a particular fondness for them. I let him off the hook, as my eye catches sight of something dull and cheap-looking. Major, what on earth is this? The filthy bottle sticks out like a sore thumb amongst the shiny baubles Floofy usually likes to collect. Oh, that! Heavens! I forgot all about that thing. It might suit you. If you shake it, you'll hear something rattling around in there. I do believe it contains a note or a script of some kind. He's selling it to me. Silly, really. I did get it into my head to find a way to open that bottle, but the cork is wedged in tight. I choose this to start my collection, Major. Really? That old thing? But I can tell he's absolutely delighted. Yes, and I have an idea how to open it. Go on, you have my attention. I whip off my apron and loosely wrap it around the bottle, then smash it unceremoniously against the side of a tree. Good gracious, Chungus, how lively of you! I have a feeling the real treasure is this. I carefully pick the parchment from amongst the shards of glass and cast a cursory eye over the faded scribbles. A genuine message in a bottle. This could fill in so many blanks about the history of this place. A piece of paper. Oh, Major, this is not just a piece of paper. This is better than anything I could have hoped for. Look at the glee in that little face. Well, if that's what you deem to be treasure, then please, be my guest. Thank you so much, Major. I grin from ear to ear. I must go now, though. I'm late for lunch duty. I excitedly kiss Floofybutt on his furry head before dashing back to base. Interesting. I wonder what was on the paper. New unlocks, Recon 13. Ah, so, what I'm working out here is that you do in fact need to do all of the romance quests if you want to unlock all the bits and pieces. And that, frankly, We probably should have done all 5 with dearest McMurphs in the first mission, because we might have screwed things up a little bit for ourselves going forwards. Sorry, Murph! Right, well, let's do another research mission. Okay, we've got Research 6 here. Follicle Miracle. It's time for some serious testing in the labs. I'm intrigued to see what kind of work the Professor has up his sleeve. What's he going to put us on today? My stomach is queasy. I really don't want to do this. It's strange. I'm used to treating subjects with medication and injections, but something about this doesn't feel right. Hello, you! I smile at the gentle cat on the table in front of me. I look at the syringe in my hand. I then turn to the Professor. What are we testing for with these meds again? He looks up from his desk. Is there a problem, Chungus? I've already told you, it's supposed to stimulate hair growth. Why do we need to stimulate hair growth? Why indeed? However, ours is not to question why, Chungus. The likes of you and I perform the tasks set up by the people who pay our wages. Such is life, eh? No, I'm with Chungus. Testing on animals is bad. This is not okay. The Professor returns to his work, and I understand the conversation is over. I look back at the little cat. His name is Smokey. He's a Lycoy cat with short, fine hair. A real sweetie. I suppose the Professor is right. This is just my job, and although I feel terrible, I find a way to ignore the pangs of guilt and inject Smokey with the medication. Boo! He squeals, but it's over quickly, and he can return to his cage. Double boo! He's in a cage. How long does this usually take? The Professor looks up again, slightly irritated. I don't know, Chungus. You're going to be paid to find that out, aren't you, my dear? Oh, yes, of course. I make a note of the time and observe the cat. After 5 minutes, there's no noticeable change. 10 minutes, still no change. I mean, come on, how quick did you expect it to work? After half an hour, I think I notice his hair looks a little different, but I suspect my eyes are just playing tricks on me. 1 hour in, and all of a sudden I can see that the hair is visibly longer and seems to be continuing to grow. I must say I'm very impressed, and a little confused. I decide to take a tea break. Smokey seems content to nap for now. Can I get you a cup of tea, Professor? Oh no, I don't know how you can tolerate the foul stuff they brew up in the mess tent. I have my thermos of coffee here, thank you. Fair enough, I'll be back in a bit. I've only been gone for 10 minutes at most, but as I enter with my mug of tea, I instantly notice the drama taking place in Smokey's cage. I find it hard to stifle a laugh. Oh my goodness, Professor, have you seen this? The Professor looks up, exasperated by another interruption, but then notices the cage. Well my, that is bonkers, isn't it? Oh dear, well don't just stand there, Chungus, get him out. I open the front of the cage and pull out the large hairball that Smokey has turned into. His fur tumbles over my arm as I cradle the bewildered cat. Well, I never. Very interesting, isn't it, Chungus? I think it's still growing, Professor. I do believe you're right. Perhaps we should consider the clippers. The Professor hands me a small set of silver electric clippers, and I immediately begin using them on the ever-expanding Smokey. This is not going to work, because it's only taken him like an hour and 10 minutes to grow into a massive hairball. You're basically going to have to shave him constantly if you want to have any kind of hope of him not, like, just drowning in his own fur. I continue to shave for the next 15 minutes until he finally seems to run out of fur. My, that's a lot of hair. We both stand staring at the pile of fur at our feet. Just keep a small amount for testing and put the rest of it out the back. Mora can dispose of it later. Mora? Mrs. Marigold. Excellent work today, Chungus. Most interesting findings. Thank you, sir. Although the results had nothing to do with me, I'm left feeling a tad guilty about Smokey's ordeal. As I place him back in his cage, I check for any signs of trauma, and when I'm satisfied he's okay, I awkwardly take my leave. You should feel awkward. That was bad. Ooh, Research 9 unlocked. Lovely. Or maybe not, depends if it's anything like that, doesn't it? Right, one more of each. Let's do the romance first, then we'll have a rest, then the recon, then the research. We're all over this. Where are you taking us today, Floof? Somewhere good, I would like to hope. Ah, this looks nice. I'm taking a late stroll along the beach, walking off my dinner, when I spot a familiar shape in the distance. Major? He begins slinking away, but I'm sure he must have heard me. Hey, wait! Floofy stops, but makes no move towards me. Oh, Chungus, I was just enjoying this lovely evening. It's dark and stormy. Is everything okay? He seems very distracted. Yes, all in good order. I haven't seen you for a while. A paranoid person might think they were being avoided. Well, it's a good thing that you're not paranoid then, isn't it? I suppose so. There is an awkward silence. Well, must be getting on. Mice to catch, you know. There aren't any mice here, Major. Just a turn of phrase, Chungus, but I'm sure you have things to be getting on with. Am I being blown off by a cat? I think that's the bigger question here. Actually, I have some time, if you'd care to stroll together. The Ginger Tom shifts uncomfortably. Actually, I have other plans. Really? He's not forthcoming with the details, and just as I suspect he's making up excuses, I hear a long yowling sound coming from the direction of the forest. Then, to my surprise, Floofy lets out a similar call, and his demeanour changes. Sorry, Chungus, I really must go. Oh, I see. The penny finally drops, and I realise he has a date with another cat. I feel rather embarrassed. Why, Major, I'm pleased for you. Really? Of course! I must say, I'm glad to have your blessing, Chungus. I believe you and I have become good chums over the time we've spent together here. I rather think you would like my new companion. They are so forward-thinking, and they always endeavour to challenge my lazy prejudices. I think you'd approve. Dang! I got blown off by a cat. I do, Major. It sounds like you've found a real catch. I noticed a slight feeling of regret rise within me, but tried to muster up a smile. Thank you, Chungus. You're a good friend. But his eyes are focused on where the sound came from, and I can tell he's itching to go. Have fun, Major. I rather think I will. And off he darts, moving faster than I've ever seen him move before. I stand still for a moment, watching the place he's disappeared to, and I feel a wave of utter loneliness wash over me. Brutal. So, guess I picked wrong when, I decided to not challenge him in the first bit of the dating scenario. Still, we had a lovely nap and wake up feeling revitalised. Your energy has been restored. Magic! Plus, theoretically, we only need to be successful dating one cat, right? Or that's all I'm aiming at. And we failed first time, failed second time. There's still a few more times to try, right? Let's do Recon 13. Let's take a look at the message that Floofy found in that there bottle. The ink is surprisingly well preserved. The only obstacle to my understanding of this letter is deciphering the scrawling scribble. Some words I can make out. Punished, God, and presumably the signature at the bottom. Bill. I can make out some other words, but they appear to be badly misspelled, or possibly not even English, but some other hybrid language. Maybe colloquial? I spend an hour or two, though it feels much longer, attempting to translate each character and syllable into my notepad. I obsessively write and rewrite words until a sentence takes shape, and I am eventually left with something quite legible. Once I am satisfied that each word is correct and each sentence has a meaning, I read it through from beginning to end. To whoever finds this bottled message, we have been cursed. We be judged for our sins. We wrecked on the rocks. I couldn't tell you where we be, but I think it's hell. The cats. They are everywhere, and they won't forgive us. They know what we done. My guts burned for food. I had no choice. I had to eat. I regret it now. God help me, I do. Now I am cursed, and the boys are too. The cats are eating us slowly from the inside. It burns more than hunger. It burns me rotten. They stare at me all the time with their yellow eyes. They know what we've done. They are getting retribution. Justice. God help me. I pray for death. If you find yourself in the path of the infinite island, turn back. Don't do what we done. Leave them. This is their island. I need my little Lucy to know I love her. I'm sorry, Petal. Bill. Oh my, Bill. Bill ate a cat. And that is where this all started. That's what I'm taking from that letter. And that is bonkers, Bill. Bill, what did you do? I read it again. And then again. But it seems the more I read it, the less it makes sense to me. I wonder if reading aloud might help. Help me to understand. Like in school. We have been cursed. We be judged for our sins. We wrecked on the rocks. So their ship crashed, and they survived. I'm not sure if they are very lucky or very unlucky. The cats won't forgive us. I had to eat. I had no choice. My skin prickles with goosebumps. Who knows what lengths anyone might go to in order to survive. I'm sure I'm capable of a lot more than I'd like to believe, sat here in the comfort of my tent, but this? My stomach turns at the thought of it. I think I understand what Bill means, but the next part is less clear, and still more disturbing. They're eating us from the inside. Like food poisoning? The thought of that is bad enough. I've eaten a few dodgy prawns in my time. I shudder at the memory, but I can't help thinking he means something else. Something worse. Surely the place Bill is talking about is here, the island, the Infinite Island? I've never heard anyone refer to this place as the Infinite Island before. Most people call it Cat Island, or the Valoran Island formerly. Perhaps this crew were the first humans to step foot on this place. Ah, Valoran, like lost in German. Interesting. How long have the cats been here anyway? This letter seems to be at least 100 years old, and the cats were pretty well established then by the sounds of things. The cats in this note must be the elders. I suddenly feel another pang of sympathy for Bill and the crew. I know how frightening the elders can be. I decide not to tell Floofy about the contents of his gift. It would only add to his paranoia. I instead promise myself that I will look into this further another time. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Right. One thing left to do. Final piece of research. We are almost 23%, so we are very almost a quarter of a way to the old antidote. Okay, and this is the final thing we can do, so yeah, gotta leave Cat Island. Let's check on Socks. How is my dear Socks doing? Did we make the right choice giving him the ointment? I'm worried about Socks. None of the treatments so far seem to be cleaning up his wound. Cream 116 hasn't helped one bit. In fact, my gut is telling me it may be the cause of his deterioration. The entire site is now swollen and too sore to touch, even with a soft cotton pad. Oh, Socks, I'm so sorry. I decide to ask the professor for his advice. Sorry to disturb you, sir, but I need your advice on Socks. Send pic, please. I snap a picture on my catalogue and send it to the professor. Yes, that does look nasty. Have you tried Cream 116? I did, sir. Sight worse. Swollen and inflamed. I suggest persevering. Cream 116 can take a while, but will pay off. I mean, I'm not sure I agree with you there. I feel doubtful, but resign myself to the professor's seniority. If unsatisfied, try steroid formula in fridge. Red bag. That sounds better to me. I rummage around in the fridge until I find the red bag behind a box of vitamin supplements. Got it. Thank you for your help, sir. I pour the milk into a small bowl, and I'm relieved that Socks seems to like it. Wait, so is this milk laced with steroids? That sounds a bit bizarre. I sit with him as he laps it up and keep an eye on him for a while. After about an hour, I'm satisfied that he's sleeping happily and all his vital stats are normal. What have we done to Socks? I'm sitting on my bunk, looking around at the empty tent that has been my home for the past 8 weeks. It's astonishing how much rubbish you can accumulate in such a short period of time. It's taken me hours, but I finally sorted everything out and have my bag packed. In some ways, I wish I was staying, but I know if I'm going to make any more progress on the antidote, I will need expert help. The kind I can only get on the mainland. Right, so, am I about to be shot? This is the question. So, it's time to head out. There's just one last thing to do. I make my way to the place where Floofy Butt and I have spent so much time together. I was hoping I'd find him here, nosing through his collection of artifacts and treasures. The hollowed out tree looks sad, neglected. I maintain a safe distance to avoid the effects of the danger zone, but even from this far, I get the feeling that Major hasn't been here for a while. I'm gutted. I wanted to say goodbye in person. He's probably off with his, successful date, Kitty. The one that I was shunned for. Major, are you here? When I'm satisfied, he's nowhere around. I take out the small pillow I made from one of my t-shirts. It doesn't seem a lot, but I put so much effort into making it. I've stitched our names in a little heart, and I drew some seagulls around the edges, and I stuffed it with catnip. Oh, that is so cute! Oh my god, I love it. I thought he might appreciate a bit of comfort with his advancing years. I only hope Snooty Booty doesn't get her claws into it. I place it at the foot of the mighty tree, under a cup of palm leaves, and make my way to the dock without looking back. Oh my gosh, that's brutal. Joe, the strange boy who runs the ferry with his dad Bob, is waiting on the jetty. You're almost late. I'm not in the mood for this nonsense today. I feel miserable. But I'm not though, am I, Joe? Almost late is not late. Something got your goat? I ignore him and make my way onto the boat. Then, just as we begin navigating our way out to open water, something on the land catches my eye. I can just make out the shape of a fluffy orange blob waving from the end of the jetty. Oh, he did remember us. Oh my goodness! And I wave back frantically. Someone came to see you off? Yes, it's the Major. Bye, Major. It's been an adventure. I can't see no one. You going a bit mental? Look, just there, the ball of orange, the tomcat. Right, yeah, we are going to get shot. Joe's gone very quiet, and when I glance at him, he's eyeing me suspiciously. Oh, that's a shame. What? Dad? Something wrong, son? This one's sick. I don't understand. I'm fine. Bob appears from the driver's cabin. That's alright, son. You go take care of the steering wheel. Good lad. Joe does as he's told, leaving Bob and I face to face. Is there something wrong, Bob? I'm afraid there is. It's not personal. I happen to like you. He's reached into his pocket and is aiming something that looks like a pistol at me. I laugh nervously. This must be some kind of prank. It's just, we can't have you going back to the mainland and infecting normal people, can we? Before I can answer, everything goes black. And there went Chungus. And we did even worse with Chungus than we did with my last character, Boo, as this we had one successful date with Major, whereas we got 2 successful dates with the last cat, and we only went on 2, so if we'd actually just continued going on dates with McMurphy, maybe we would have made some progress. Well, let's leave it there for today, and if you've enjoyed this, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!